Hello, this is the Fifth Star Podcast. I'm Jaimie.
And I'm Albert.
And this is a podcast where we're trying to find our next 5-star rated movie. And when we find that movie, St. Nicholas is going to come clean this podcast up.
Squeaky clean. All right, we are a little late, but we are finally reviewing One Battle After Another.
Yes.
Much anticipated Paul Thomas Anderson movie. It's about Leonardo DiCaprio playing a revolutionary. He ends up having a child and then goes into hiding. And over some time, his past comes back to haunt him.
Yep.
Is it the best movie of the year so far? We shall see. So we secretly wrote down what we gave this movie on this whiteboard. We like to guess what we think each other gave it. And so, Jaimie, I think you gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
All right.
What do you think?
So there's a part of me that thinks you gave this 4.5. I'm going to play it safe and say you gave it a 4.
Okay. 4.0. So if this is your first time watching, we like to give our spoiler-free thoughts first in case you haven't seen it. Then we'll reveal our scores, and then we'll get into a spoiler full discussion. So, Jaimie, did it live up to the hype?
Okay, first of all, I just want to say that, going into this movie, all I really knew was the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Which was really high.
Really high. And then coming out of the movie, I have not read, anything about the movie, haven't looked at a single review.
Interesting, okay.
All the takes I make are going to be my takes or maybe some adopted takes from my friends that I watched it with.
Okay.
So I think the movie was really, really well made.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely well crafted. The acting, superb. I mean, what do you expect? I thought the cinematography was beautiful. It looked so movie, you know?
Yeah.
Some of those shots were just really cool, and some of them I feel like I'd never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sequence towards the end where the camera is basically on the road, and it's cool. That POV shot is so cool. So and then
just a side note on the cinematography, this was shot in VistaVision, which I guess the last movie that did it was The Brutalist in parts, but this one was full VistaVision. A few places around the world are screening it in full VistaVision. If not, everyone's saying you have to watch an IMAX.
That's so cool.
Now, I didn't watch an IMAX. Did you?
No.
Okay, you watched it on a normal theater screen?
Yeah.
But it is a very visual movie.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, and so I do kind of want to watch it in IMAX.
Okay, can I ask about the sound?
Okay.
I thought the sound mixing was great.
Mm-hmm.
I also really liked the soundtrack, but our theater, it might have just been our theater, but was it super loud for you? Super loud?
I don't know. I did have a hard time, and this might be the mix of the theater. I did have a hard time where sometimes the dialogue felt drowned out, and I had a hard time hearing some of the dialogue clearly.
When the music ramped up? Maybe,
yeah. But there is so much happening in every scene during certain parts of the movie that it just might be the cacophony of all the sounds happening in the music.
I swear, though, every time there was a gunshot or an explosion, I physically just flinched because it was so loud. And it kind of hurt my ears.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it was just my theater then but the sound design was still really good, and honestly it made me them cranking up the volume so much made me more anxious.
I do wish I watched this movie before, when it first came out.
All the hype.
Yeah. Now we're maybe 3 weeks into it. We haven't had a chance to watch it till just a couple days ago. And it's so hard to undo all that I've heard about it. And
really?
It's not like I read a lot of reviews. I didn't read any reviews, but just hearing
people talk
about, oh, you got to watch this movie. I heard the conversation about this is probably going to win all these Oscars and all this stuff. We can talk about that later. But I do think the standout for me is the acting.
Yeah.
The performances, the cast is great.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Leo, who's just as great as normal, but really Sean Penn to me was fantastic.
He completely disappeared.
Yeah, I agree. And he's already a great actor, 2-time Academy Award winner.
Crazy.
This might be my favorite performance of him ever.
Wow.
He's so good.
Yeah, he completely embodied that person.
Yes.
Like in his mannerisms and his like, even the way he walked, which I was making fun of the way he walked.
I know. But is, you know, there is that physical side of his performance, but even emotionally, like in his, just the look of it, what he's looking at, you kind of know what he's thinking and feeling. And yeah, like he really does disappear into this role. I think this movie is worth watching purely for his performance alone. Like more than like in addition to everything else, like this is kind of a you can't miss this performance.
Yeah.
So I loved that performance. I thought Benicio del Toro was amazing.
I loved his character.
Yeah, he was so
funny.
Yeah, so he was funny. He was great. There is a little trivia thing about kind of the impact he had on the movie and the story.
Oh, really?
So when we get into spoilers, I'll talk about that. So
okay.
if you guys have seen it, stick around for that part of the discussion because it's so cool knowing like the kind of what he lent into this movie in terms of just a story element. Also, Tiana Taylor, who plays the kind of wife figure.
The mom?
Yeah, the mom, Perfidia, Beverly Hills. I thought she was fantastic too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like I had a hard time with the beginning because it was so montagey that I kept getting really lost and feeling like I was behind, which part of me is like, maybe I just need to go see it again. But that whole sequence, I felt so lost and kind of overwhelmed that I wasn't super paying close attention to like her as an actress.
Okay.
But
because
from what I can remember, she did great.
I mean, I would argue like that first part of the movie is really like she's the main character.
Well, I want to talk about that in spoilers.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
I mean, she does play a very prominent role. And so she has a lot of material to work with. She does great, like towing the line in terms of the complexity of her character.
Yeah.
Willa, the daughter, when she grows up, she's played by Chase Infinity. She also, this is her film debut. She did a fantastic job too.
Yeah.
So just like all around, I think the cast, all the performances are so great.
Yeah.
Highlighted,
really well done.
Yeah, highlighted by Sean Penn. That I think, to me, like that's really like the most enjoyable part of the movie. Well, no, I don't know if I agree with that actually. There's a lot to enjoy about this movie. I agree with you. It's really well made.
Yeah, I think like the thing that's interesting is like the tonally. Yeah. The beginning is also so different from the rest of the movie. Like it almost feels like a mini movie.
Yeah.
That's preparing you like a recap for the actual movie. And then the actual movie starts and suddenly it gets really funny and it becomes like somewhat lighthearted, somewhat caricature-y. And then some of the subplots feel very like silly almost, but still very dark and
grounded
terrible.
Yeah. And you know, PTA is known for doing more like period piece type movies. But this is very much feels so grounded in today. So relevant and we'll have to unpack, you know, a lot of those themes and spoilers. But I loved how relevant this movie felt. But this is based off of, inspired by a fictional novel.
It is?
Yeah. He adapted this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from a 1990 novel called Vinland.
Whoa.
Yeah, Vinland. It's by Thomas Pynchon. And apparently PTA's been like wanting to adapt this for like 20 years. So he's been kind of like writing this script for like 20 years, just had it on the back burner.
That's crazy.
His like assistant director, who I think unfortunately passed away during this movie, was pushing him to make this, but PTA ended up doing Licorice Pizza instead. And then after that was done, his assistant director was kind of like, okay, come on, it's time to do this, you know?
Wow.
So he started working on this, but that novel takes place in like 1984. It's like takes place during Ronald Reagan's like re-election year.
Whoa.
But
that's fascinating.
Yeah, but the characters in that novel are kind of like revolutionaries who are looking back on their 60s memories, and it's told in like flashbacks of like 60s experiences during kind of Nixon and like his regime and kind of the spirit of rebellion in America.
Now I want to read this.
Yeah. So it's interesting that and you know, I just read a kind of quick synopsis. So there is kind of a love triangle and some of those elements, but it's very loosely based.
Okay.
So PTA did a great job in terms of adapting this
and interpreting it.
Yeah, and making it feel relevant. So you have like this revolutionary group, right, called the French 75, that's I think very like much based on the historical groups like the Weather Underground apparently is kind of one of the major influences. But the thing is that when you watch it today, I almost felt like, man, this might be like a vision of our future, the immediate future that's coming. That's kind of like one of the ways I interpreted it, you know? Like the path that we're going down in America, like feels like this is an inevitability. And in one sense, it's like a recall back to history and like, hey, we've been here before.
Yeah.
And this is how America responded in this time.
Right.
But I also feel like because of the elements that he puts in this movie that feels so grounded in today, that is like, this feels so possible.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. I hope. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I hope for in our future in America. But like, is this movie potentially going to like be the catalyst for some kind of uprising? I don't know. Like but it's just there's so much going on in this movie in terms of the relevance and what it might be saying that it's fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of like themes of doing something just in an unjust way. There's a lot of that woven throughout the entire movie. And then another big theme I picked up on was just kind of that individualistic nature that we all have, where we do kind of like live in our own selfish bubbles. You know, we might say we live for a cause, but then by doing so, we're really just living for ourselves kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I noticed that theme sprinkled in.
Yeah.
With particularly two of the main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a really interesting part where these characters are like complex. Like you sometimes you wonder, what is their motivation? Are they a true believer of the cause, or and
is it their own self-fulfillment that they're after?
Yeah. And so I'm definitely looking forward to getting more into the details of that conversation in our spoiler section. But yeah, like I agree with you that the movie kind of does shift tonally. And you know, I didn't watch the trailer. Had you seen the trailer for this?
I did, but the trailer, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I thought the trailer was like really uninteresting and not compelling.
Okay.
Like I had no interest in watching it based on the trailer, and then everyone started telling me like it's really good, and then I was like, okay, I'll watch it then. Yeah.
Now, I didn't watch the full trailer, but I saw like ads on my phone or you know, whatever, YouTube, like quick 30-second kind of trailer ads.
Right.
And I felt like it sold itself as something different from what the movie was.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing, if you guys haven't seen it, like try to not adjust your expectations based on the trailer.
Don't base it off the trailer at all. Because I did not like the trailer, but I'll tell you what I thought about the movie.
But like, you know, it seems like there is action in it, but the way that ad was cut, it seemed like it's nonstop, relentless action. And then it's called One Battle After Another. And I think that's kind of what set me up for this expectation of like, oh, it's gonna be this like high thrill, like adrenaline, nonstop, like almost like Uncut Gems
like
type
Fast
of
and Furious.
But like more like Uncut Gems. So like this kind of like relentless pacing of like stuff happening constantly. And
which the pacing was amazing.
It was okay. I want to definitely talk about that.
We can put a pin in it.
Yeah, we can put a pin in that. But I think that's why like the first part of the movie was a little disorienting for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, where is all of that I saw?
Yeah.
And the first half seems like this kind of long prologue setup, you know, to get to that. But I don't think PTA intends it for it to be that. You know, like I think it tends to be, it is a little snapshotty, like moments.
Montage.
But I think you need to really like experience that part of it to really like understand
100%.
You know, where the characters, like what motivates them to do the things they do, right? Like they're
100%.
fundamentally important for so
which is why I thought of it as more of, it felt like a important recap almost, like as if this were a sequel to that movie,
like a full story and movie has happened.
Yeah, and then we're just recapping you.
Okay, interesting. And you got to kind of fill in a little bit of the in between, but they still give you enough, I think, that now in terms of pacing, this movie is what, 2 hour 45 minutes, something like that. Like
I think it's 2 hour 50.
It's like essentially 3 hours. Did it feel like that to you?
No.
I agree.
It
I was
felt
surprised.
it felt like just over 2 hours.
Yeah. It felt shorter than
crazy.
A lot of 2 hour movies.
It felt shorter than Oppenheimer, I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I mean, but it's weird because it wasn't like because of a relentless pace. It just never lost me, you know? Like it always kept me engaged. I was always like fully immersed. Never lost interest.
That's high points.
Yeah.
High points.
But with all that said,
here we go.
Do you think this is the best movie of 2025?
For me, no.
Okay.
But it's up there.
Yeah, it is up there for me too. How up there? Because people,
I would recommend this movie.
I mean, people are saying this is like bar none the best movie of 2025.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend this movie to most people.
Okay.
So, as far as that goes, but I think I still put Sinners above, and then maybe even Materialists above.
Ooh, okay.
I did really like that movie though,
Yeah.
and I am not everyone is going to agree with that, and I understand.
I was looking back at the movies we've reviewed so far and other ones I've seen throughout this year, and Materialist was kind of one that I was like, ooh, this is close, right? I do think I enjoyed One Battle After Another more than
that's totally fair
than Materialist.
and completely understandable.
Yeah, but it was close. I really enjoyed Materialist.
Yeah,
but I actually still had this behind also Sinners. But my favorite movie of the year so far was 28 Years Later,
which I still haven't seen.
Yeah.
So and I don't think I will.
And I'm a big fan
because I don't like zombies.
I mean, I am a big fan of the original Danny Boyle, like 28 Days. Man, I just thought what he did in 28 Years Later was so good. And then I think I have Sinners #2 so far this year.
Yeah, Sinners is #1 for me.
And then I actually, this is going to be a hot take too. I actually think I have K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
You know what?
It was
your preference. Your preference.
I mean, K-pop Demon
your
Hunters
opinion.
Was just so thoroughly enjoyable and fun and all of that
it goes above this one.
There is an element of this movie that when we talk about spoilers, I think I'll explain why that so much of it works and is so good, but there is like a certain element that kind of splashed a little cold water on it for me by the ending of it. I
think we might agree on this.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we don't want to spoil anything.
Should we go ahead and reveal our scores?
Well, before that, Oscar conversation. There's potential that this movie might sweep every category. What categories do you think this could win?
Definitely cinematography.
Okay.
Potentially sound editing. Sean Penn could potentially win Best Actor again.
Well, I think he would be supporting.
You think he would be?
Yeah, I think he would be supporting.
There's an argument to be made that he had like just as much, if not more, screen time than Leo, which is crazy.
I agree. Yeah,
but
I think in terms of the way they run the campaign, they're gonna run Leo as Best Actor.
Okay, and then Sean Penn is supporting.
Yeah.
Okay, Best Picture for sure. It would definitely. I don't know if it'd win Best Picture, but it's definitely getting nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Maybe Best Directing.
Okay, I think he's a lock for Best Director.
Yeah. Maybe Best Screenwriting. I don't know about screenwriting.
I don't think PTA's won an Oscar yet.
Really? For
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood?
Yeah, PTA has been nominated for Best Director like almost for all his movies and never won. I think this is where they give it to him. So I think he's a lock for that.
I feel like he should get it.
Yeah, I
Poor
think
guy.
Sean Penn. I think Sean Penn is a lock for Best Supporting Actor. Although there's supposed to be a lot of challenges.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of other.
But we'll see when we get closer to Oscars. But I do
Yeah.
feel like he's so good in this movie. I do think it's gonna be very much one of the big heavy hitters for the Oscars this year.
Probably.
Okay, reveal.
Reveal.
All right, you thought I would give it a 4.0 out of 5, and I did give it a 4.0 out of 5. Oh, you gave... Okay, I thought you might give it a... Yeah, I thought you might give it a 4.0, but I was like, I don't know if you'll be turned off by some of the elements, but yeah.
I'm glad I didn't guess 4.5. I thought you maybe really liked it.
Okay, here's the thing. Now, we're going to get into spoilers.
Yes.
Right? What do you think are the main themes or theme of the movie? Because I think that's based on that's kind of where I think there's I get to what the part that kind of didn't or undid some of the great stuff that it did by the end.
I mean, I think the main theme was the whole justice for in unjust ways
Okay.
But then also seeing how the selfishness of a character's choices kind of left to this self-gratifying self-fulfillment in both Perfidia and Sean Penn's character. They are in some ways opposite and they're on opposite sides, but they both, it feels like they're both striving for more self-gratification in what they both perceive to be justice over people.
Or over a genuine cause.
Yeah.
Because even him, Lockjaw, as a top, one of the commanders of the U.S. military, is willing to trade sexual favors for, I don't care, you could keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
That's just so crazy.
And then even later when he's like, oh, just come up with a reason for me to invade.
Yeah.
Just come up with some reason.
Yeah, for his own personal vendetta.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous that he would see that as just because I think in his mind he sees it as him undoing a wrong or whatever. And then same goes for her choices are very self-motivated, and that's only made clear when she has a baby and kind of chooses to abandon it. But I think my argument is that she remains the main character. This is my hot take, maybe. I feel like her whole setup at the beginning, and the reason I agree it's very important, is because the entire movie is based off of the choices that she made.
Yes, not Leo's.
Yeah. And she's the one who changes at the end.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's presented in the logline as this revolutionary Leonardo DiCaprio's character has his past catch up to him. But it's not really his past, right? Everything is driven by her past. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's not there to face the consequences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so interesting to have what I think could be the main character be not present in the movie.
Yeah. But
still has a strong presence.
Because everyone's talking about her, the nuns talking about her, and still living, and even the daughter having to live in the wake of the consequences of her actions.
Like a reflection.
Yeah. But here's the thing about Perfidia that I think is not entirely... it's too simplistic to say that she's purely selfishly motivated, because she comes from a line of revolutionaries.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's been trained and raised to fight the institutions and all these kinds of things.
I think I'm just saying a lot of her choices were selfishly motivated.
Okay. But I think for example, she's experiencing motherhood, right? And her having the phone conversation that Leo overhears about, she's like, I don't feel wanted anymore and all this stuff, right? I mean, seeing my wife go through 2 pregnancies and births, right? Like I've seen just how much the female, the mother goes through physically, psychologically, emotionally.
Well, and that's not to say I don't have empathy for her. I had a lot of empathy for her.
Yes.
I could very much understand like
why she was
making the choice. Yeah. But and at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I mean I agree with you like from a morality standpoint of like should mothers abandon their children? No, right? But I can it is like she is it just purely selfish or is she in some way still rebelling, right?
Well, she literally tells him I was always going to choose myself. It was always going to be me over my family or whatever.
That's true. But she also says, like, I don't want to be, don't put your, like these institutions of marriage and motherhood and all these kind of social expectations on me, right? Like, she's like, I refuse to just be subject to those things.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, that's her act of rebellion too, right? Like, she's rebelling against society that tells her that, oh, you have to be this. And, maybe in some ways, like, yeah, is it fair that society kind of expects the woman to carry the child, birth the child, and be the one, like men can run away and we kind of give them a little more of a pass, but a mother who,
I don't.
I mean, not that we don't, but it's almost like, yeah, okay, we've heard that before. But a woman who leaves her child is like the biggest shame you could possibly.
I think they're both equally bad.
Okay. Well, I think there's a little bit of a double standard there, a different kind of expectation where women will be like shamed more greatly.
Yeah. But then after that, she ends up ratting everyone out.
Okay, that's true.
And so there is like this element of like she was only thinking about herself and then like that's why to me the letter at the end is so important because the letter shows how much I thought also the way she delivered that voiceover was so good.
It was so good.
Her like you can hear the emotion like thick in her voice and
it wasn't like overly sentimental.
I know. Yeah.
It was just like it felt very honest.
Yeah. Like this is totally what her character would have written. Like these are definitely her words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
Having passed.
And I think it shows a great kind of arc of redemption. Her kind of realizing how her mistakes have impacted not just her own self, but all these other people.
Yeah.
And it's super interesting.
Now, I ultimately end up at the same place where I agree with you. She is more motivated by a lot more selfishness than some kind of act of rebellion or whatever. Like that's kind of just what she told herself.
Right.
But there is another way to read her kind of thing with Strongjaw or Lockjaw.
Strongjaw would have been
strong
great.
Bad.
Strongjaw would have been great.
Is that, if she was to have kind of stuck it out, she would have ultimately always had her child be under the control and influence of this man, right? This evil man who's using his power to oppress and to abuse and manipulate her into this position of subservience,
so
right? Yeah. And what would he have done to that child, right? Like, or whatever, like it's just, so for her to be like, I need to run away from this man and play the role until I can, and do whatever it takes, even if it means ratting out the cause for the sake of this child getting away from his grips or his awareness of this child, like that kind of thing. I could see that as
I don't know if that was totally clear that she was doing it for that purpose.
I agree. But I think in the context of the situation, it's a potential element that I agree that the movie is not there in the text, but I think you could see some potential of that if you were to give her a little benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I agree with you. Now, there is another element to this that is very prevalent throughout the movie, which is immigration. And that's the part that felt so connected to reality right now. Yeah. I mean, hearing stories of people just getting taken up off the streets just because of the way they look or their ethnic background or whatever, right? Even if they have the right documentation and whatever, it's just so crazy. And I mean, it starts off with her prowling around and they're gonna break into like this detention camp, right, and like free people and all this kind of stuff. And then you have this whole thing with Benicio del Toro where he's kind of like the mastermind of
the Underground Railroad.
The Underground Railroad, right? Now here's the piece of trivia. When Benicio del Toro got cast, like PTA was always like, oh, he's the sensei, right? So then Benicio del Toro like does his character work, comes to the meeting, and Benicio del Toro is the one that brought up the idea of the Underground Railroad. That this sensei would be so much in control of like this whole network that he would even have influence in the correctional facility where Leo gets, like they can get him kind of passed over into a hospital, and that he would also have his fingers into the hospital system where, with all the minorities, they're all under this cause and he's kind of at the top, and then that was all his idea as an actor.
That's really cool.
So like Pete was like, he said,
that's really cool.
It's crazy that he said this in an interview. Like he said, it's crazy that you write something for 20 years and in one meeting, one dinner, an actor comes up with the best sequence of the whole movie.
That's so cool.
He's like, it's a lesson to tell you that don't write something for 20 years, And the collaboration that he was like, recognize that as so important. And I think actually without all of that, the themes feel more kind of out there, just kind of ideological. But because of this backdrop, these constant shots and how much, and I think because of that, he kept shooting more of that kind of footage and cutting that in throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That it feels like these themes of power and revolution, which is my main takeaway of themes. Like, I think it's about the powerless revolting against the powerful, whoever those forces may be, and
would you say that's more the backdrop? Or would you say that I think the main characters?
I think the theme is about rebellion to me. And about in different ways. It's the desire that there are people who are, and this is why it ties into the immigration thing so much. Look, I'm not Hispanic. I don't walk outside of my door feeling like I need to carry my passport, which some of our Hispanic friends are actually living, right? Like today, they walk out with that fear. But during COVID, I felt that, right? Like I felt that as an Asian American. And so I understand like what that kind of fear feels like. And I feel like this whole story of this lockjaw character coming with the full weight of the U.S. military after this man in Leonardo DiCaprio is like a metaphor for us to understand the experience of like what people are feeling right now.
Yeah.
That ICE can come at any moment without any justification, whatever, and just lock you up, interrogate you, like all of these things connect into that reality, right? And so in one sense, I could see that as like the whole point of the movie. I don't think that's really all it's meant to do, though. I think it goes, because of the source material is adapted from what happened in the past. I think it's making a bigger statement about this is part of a cycle that people have been living. And when it gets to a certain point, people will rise up, right? And people have. And, when they feel so powerless and so like, what else can we do? They will band together and they will rise up and fight the power. But this is where the movie starts to not work for me, is that what is that power? You think it's lockjaw, right? But it's really not, because it's really the secret society of white supremacist people who are really obsessed with
Christmas Adventurers Club.
The Christmas Adventurers Club. And they
were so weird.
Yeah. And they're funny. It was funny.
It was really funny, but it was also like I was laughing in the theater and then being like, wait, this is so messed up. Like, this is so twisted.
Right?
It was this weird sort of dual emotion happening.
And I think that's where I think the movie kind of loses its way. I think for the sake of the laugh, of this being a satire, let's make them caricatures, the groundedness of what the rest of it feels like the groundedness of like the cause of the feel for need to rebel, to fight that thing. And then at the top is these silly like people who are like pulling all the strings, and and then I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean that doesn't exist? Like the idea that there's this cabal of like white old men who are retired military or like whatever, like are just like going around just murdering like whoever they feel like and just doing whatever they want, like
the neo-Nazis.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't think he's trying to make light of that or that could be a reality, but it feels like that,
I think that the whole point of the Christmas Adventures Club, it was to be satirical, but also I think it's meant to be the sort of opposite or the other side of the coin for the French 75. And I think that it only exists to be the other side of the coin. And it is Lockjaw's core motivation throughout.
Okay.
It's his means of justification. So
yeah. Now I agree that that's probably what was intended. It was meant to be, hey, I'm going to show both sides of this. You have these two extremes of like the extremist kind of rebellious side, and then this extremist neo-Nazi. I mean, right? Like these two sides. But I would argue that the rebellion, the French 75, although there are some funny moments, like the whole phone call with Comrade Josh and all that, that's funny. And they seem...
Comrade Josh.
Yeah. They seem kind of like dysfunctional and foolish, right? But I think it comes out of a place of sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of identify with that side.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of understand, even if I might not go that far, like why they feel the need to keep fighting this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Even blowing up, banks and stuff. You might not agree, but you understand.
Mm-hmm.
But on this other extreme, it becomes so evil, so laughably satirical that you kind of dismiss it, right? You either dismiss it as just, oh, that's just so ridiculous.
Goofy.
And I'm just going to laugh at them.
Yeah.
Or if you don't identify with any side of this, any kind of side of this, and anywhere somewhere on the this half of it, right? I think you feel like you're being attacked and you're being made fun of, right? And I think that's where...
Interesting.
And that's where this part of the movie, I'm like, how helpful is this in terms of framing the current climate when it feels a little one-sided? It feels like, I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a reductionistic way of putting it, but like where all the white people are on one side and all the minorities on the other side, and it's the white people who are the bad people. And
except Leo.
Except
he's the
Leo.
Only one.
But he's a little bit just like lost and just stoned in, the middle and not know what's going on, And yeah, there's some white people on the part of the French 75, but largely like they're very minor characters.
Yeah.
And the people who are really moving the kind of plot and fighting the cause are really more of the minorities, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's in the French 75 or in the, Benicio del Toro's kind of world.
But I think it's also easier to side with them because it's the power and the powerless. And it's like the group that is powerless, you're gonna root for.
The underdog.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? What do you think of if the Christmas Adventures Club was not played as funny? Like it was just played straight.
It would immediately make the whole tone of the movie a lot darker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it already is a dark theme, but by making it a little light with comedy, it helps offset some of that darkness.
Yeah.
It would have been a very different vibe.
To me, I think that's what would have worked better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have hit the theme a lot harder and had put it in our face and deal with it. What are you guys going to do as a nation? How are we going to deal with this reality and do it in a way where you are sympathetic in some way? I mean, look, Lockjaw is the villain, right?
Yeah.
But like in some kind of sympathetic kind of way where you're kind of fair to both sides, where you can now say, look, we're just so far apart. We got to find a way through, right?
I will say, though, I think Lockjaw, even though he was silly and kind of caricature, I was still kind of terrified of him.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Never knew what he was going to do next, and he was very intimidating. And that's coming from a white person.
Yeah.
Like, even the white person was very scared of this guy. And I think they did a great job with him to make him kind of goofy, but still terrifying. And honestly, there were elements of his story that felt sympathetic. Where it's like
he's a loner. He lives by himself.
He's trying really hard to fit into something. And really just can't fit in anywhere. Yeah,
because even the ending, he's like actually genuinely happy that he made it.
He like finally belongs somewhere.
And he was afraid of being rejected by this group.
Yeah.
Right? Even though he's like such a powerful man.
So there are like tiny little humanizing elements to his character.
Yeah, I think he was great. I think he's one of the best movie villains maybe of all time now. Whoa. Like he's like, I think he gets thrown in the conversation throughout the next few years. Like he starts to get in that mix.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
But I think it's the Christmas Adventures Club. The way they handle that
too
tonally.
Silly.
Yeah, it was just too and
creepy. The guy with the drool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so creepy.
I don't know. And so to me, that just undercuts so much of the power of this movie. I think that's what bothered me, you know? This movie was working and just, it was so powerful in what it was saying and how it was speaking to our reality today. Now, the other question I want to kind of end on is, what do you think of the ending? Do you think by the end, it is hopeful or depressing? Or is it like,
Yes. That was the final scene. I wish it had just ended with the letter.
Ooh.
Because the final scene where she hears the radio and then runs out to the car and the dad's just smoking weed on the couch, I'm like, wait a second. What was the lesson here? Because she was clearly traumatized by her whole experience. And rightly so, because she was an innocent bystander in the entire movie and was pulled into it. And yeah, I get that her ancestors or whatever are all revolutionaries and stuff. But like, for her to become one of them
like that quickly
and like there's no processing time. There's no like, I was like, why would she
You're right,
do
because
that? Like,
even before she reads the letter, it's not like she reads the letter and goes, you know what, I'm going to join the cause.
No.
Like, even before she reads the letter, it's like assumed that she's already been tracking these things. And because it's not like Leo's surprised when she just suddenly goes, right? So if anything, the letter's more of a just confirmation to what she's already decided after all the events that have transpired.
Yeah, I guess so.
And we don't see that. We don't see how she gets there.
I think it was too just like, what? And I wanted there to be more of, I guess, an explanation for it.
Well, what bothered me was I thought a missing scene that was fundamental. You have the moment where she is, I mean, the car chase is really well shot.
Oh,
it's
that
great.
was so good.
Yeah. And then
Gripping.
and then, she stops the car, blindsides the guy. Like, that was so well done. And then, the way she's holding the gun and, making him, like, testing him. He doesn't pass the test. She takes him down, right? And then you see Leo come in. And you would think, as an audience member, you're rooting for this moment. And that as the moment she sees him, she goes, "Daddy!" and runs to him, right? But she's so paranoid because
so traumatized.
Everything in her world has been flipped upside down.
Yes.
That she's like, what is the rest of the phrase? What is it, And she's testing him, and he's like, in the moment, just like can't say the right thing. And he's like, "It's me, it's your dad, right?" And then what does she say? She says, "Who are you?" Dude, when she said that, it was just like, like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, she's looking at her dad that she's had her whole life, and she's like, I don't even know who this man is. Like, who is he? And then it cuts to Lockjaw's whole thing. Well, then they do embrace. Like, she runs over because he goes, like, "I'm your dad." They embrace, but then you have Lockjaw's whole like little epilogue thing, and then there's the conversation with the dad where she gets the letter. But what I feel like is missing is the answer to the who are you? Where is the confrontation, the emotional like processing and the confrontation of, Dad, did you know this? Like, why did you not tell me this my whole life? And like, did Leo know?
No.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if he knew or not.
I don't think any of them knew. Until the DNA test, I don't think any of them knew.
And so I think I needed that moment of her being like, how could you not tell me this?
And then for him to be just shocked.
Like you already lied. Yes. Like you already lied to me that my mother was a hero when she was a traitor, right? And now I find out that you lied to me that you're even my dad. And for him to have to hear that and come to that realization that, wait, you're like, where's the moment that he realizes that's not his daughter?
Because he's not the main character. Yeah.
But,
did you want him to be?
Maybe. The driving thread of the whole second to third act is a father trying to find his daughter.
Yeah.
And
very poorly, but yeah.
Yeah. And when that moment happens, it's like the physical reunion happens, but where's the emotional, restoration through all the lies and the deceit, right? And all the and I want that conversation, and then for the thing, a moment of, in PTA would say it a lot better than this, but I don't care what the test said, I am your dad, like that kind of
but we have seen that before.
I know, but and then people might say, you guys might disagree. People might say, oh, we don't need to be spoon fed all these things. But my thing is that this is the emotional satisfaction that we've gone through all this journey, this struggle to get that emotional catharsis, and you just skip over it. And it's just not, I think it's a little cheap to be like, oh, yeah, obviously you can imagine what that felt like.
I don't know if they ever talked about it. I don't know if she ever told him. I bet she keeps that to herself.
Oh, are you? No.
Yeah. 100%. She still calls him dad at the end and everything. Like,
and
at the beginning,
that she would not tell him that?
Yeah. And at the beginning, she kept calling him Bob. And at the end, she calls him dad.
Oh my God. That didn't even cross my mind that she would have not told him that.
Yeah. I don't think she would have told him because
she can't get herself to, but doesn't
because
that perpetuate
she doesn't want to believe
the
it
lying?
herself. She doesn't want to believe she was related to that evil man.
Yeah, but what Leo gets to at the end is he says, you know what? Yeah, you should always be honest with me. Like that's the breakthrough that they have in their relationship, right?
I don't know. I don't think she tells him.
This is the part that bothered me. But the other point of this is that I do think this movie is kind of a little bit of a hopeless movie. Like I think it's very bleak in its outlook because you have generations of revolutionaries who fight the power, and where does it get them? It gets them just wanting to get stoned or running away out of the country, and just like, or the nun who's like, I'm so over this, like I don't have the heart to do this anymore. Like it comes to this, like, you will have young people who rise up and think that they're going to fight this righteous cause. Mm-hmm. But you know what? The enemy that they're fighting, they don't even know the enemy that they're fighting because they're behind hidden doors in secret basements, and they eventually flame out, and their kids go running out the same doors with the same kind of things, and the dads stand by and just go, okay. Like, I know where you're going to end up just as hopeless as me.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to change.
Yeah. I was like kind of sad that was the last beat as well. But it is complicated because, revolutions in our history
have made a difference.
Have made a huge difference and have been good, even though at the time they were breaking the law. Like, all the revolutions start with people breaking the law and like doing radical things, but it does spark change. That's why it's so complicated.
That's what I'm missing though from this movie. Give me that.
Well, that is what I felt. That's how I felt. I mean,
changed?
Specifically, I felt that with the whole Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad thing, where it's like he was making a huge difference in that community, smuggling people and helping them, and that felt like a revolutionary thing that was working.
Well, I think it's just survival. They're just surviving. They're not changing the system at all.
That's kind of how the Underground Railroad started. Like, it wasn't them changing anything, and then it became them changing everything. Like,
I think the only person who really fights any battle that makes any kind of change is the bounty hunter. The moment that he's been a bystander, he's like, I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to be involved in this. But then he stands by and he's like, I see what's about to happen and I'm not going to stand by. And he sacrifices himself and he takes down that little group. Now, in the big grand scheme of things, look, the Christmas Adventurers Club, they don't even know that guy exists. They don't care about that little group of people. You know, nothing changed, right? They get rid of Lockjaw. There's a cleanup crew to come in and they're just going to continue operating in the shadows and nothing changes in the power structures of the world. But that guy saved someone's life, right?
Yeah.
Like, he fought this evil force and didn't just stand by.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everything else, like, I don't think Leo ends up in a place where he feels like he made any kind of difference. I think he sees his daughter go out and sees it as like just like part of youthful ignorance and naivete, and she, you know, she'll eventually like grow out of it like I did. And I think the mom, you know, like she, like the cause is like, what cause? Like the cause doesn't really matter, you know, like, so I think that's the part where when you tell me like, but revolutions have made a difference in the world, to me, that's like, oh, that's what I needed to hear. That's the hope, the little glimmer of hope I needed to hold on to.
Yeah.
And that I wish this movie just had. And I just don't think
it would have been a different movie then.
Yeah.
I think, because, yeah, I think what this movie is exploring is more the nuance of justice.
Okay. So maybe that's where I was overreading the theme of wanting it to be something more, and it wasn't ever trying to be that.
Yeah, maybe.
And so to me, that's what kept it from being a 4.5 or even a 5. I think it's clear we both still really enjoyed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really well done. I think it will get a lot of the love it deserves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think overall, just like really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Right?
Really good movie.
Yeah. So if you watched it, let us know what you thought.
Mm-hmm. And you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, or Apple Podcasts.
And join us next time as we continue our quest for the 5th star.